When it comes to winning games of Deadlock, people often put a lot of emphasis on killing the enemy. And while it's obviously important, there is one thing more important than everything in Deadlock: farming. If you've clicked on this video, there's already a good chance that you knew that. So with this video, I'm going to aim to teach you some things you might not know. My name is Drongo, this is your Deadlock. Let's get to it. When it comes to farming in Deadlock, every hero has got different abilities that assist them. Commonly, you'll see players pick up items like Ricochet or Tesla bullets to accelerate their farm. However, there is one hero that rises above the rest when it comes to farming, and that is Seven. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, oh right, well that's because Seven's got a really powerful third skill, it's called Power Surge, and that allows him to eat up all the creep waves, and that's why he's so good at farming. And while yes, that does contribute to his strength, the true power is in his Lightning Ball. In this video, we're going to talk about why Lightning Ball is so good, as well as look at a couple techniques that you can implement in your own gameplay, whether that's with Seven or with other heroes, to accelerate your farm. Keep in mind, any of the benchmarks I use in this video will specifically refer to Seven, so if you can't reach those benchmarks with other heroes, don't be disappointed. Seven's gone through a couple of different phases. Initially, people were maxing his ultimate, then they were maxing his third skill, Power Surge, and then they were maxing his stun until it recently got nerfed. I propose that the correct way to play Seven is actually by maxing his Lightning Ball first. Lightning Ball allows us to be in two places at once. It allows our ball to be doing damage to creeps somewhere, and allows us to be shooting something else with our gun. If you've ever played Dota 2, there's a good chance you're familiar with the term flash farming. It's where a hard carry hero like Andy Mage picks up a Battle Fury, which accelerates his farming and allows him to go through the jungle from camp to camp, farming as quickly as possible. We can do the same thing with Seven using his Lightning Ball, and the sooner we max it, the better the results. The game that we'll be looking at today is a game that I played where I achieved 2,000 souls per minute. It was a 34-minute game in total, and there was a total of 68,000 souls collected. And while I've played almost 200 games of Seven, the reason why I want to focus on this one is because we don't start off well in this game. In fact, we die twice in the laning phase in this game, and it sets us behind, but still, we're able to climb out of that ditch. So let's take a look at some of the techniques that we use to achieve this absolutely ludicrous souls per minute number. The first thing that we're doing is we're maxing our ball first. I've already talked a little bit about this, but the key here is to ignore the other skills completely and only focusing on leveling the ball. The sooner our ball reaches max level, the sooner we can get into the jungle and really start to push that soul count above everyone else. As a result, this means that in the laning phase, we want to try and play as passively as possible until we hit 7.5k souls. The general benchmark I use is at 10 minutes, I want to have 7.5k souls. A 7.5k souls is where we get our 8th point, and that allows us to max out our ball, and then we're able to transition into the jungle. The custom build that I use has items specifically allocated up to 7.5k souls, so that I know the moment I hit that, I can buy my last item and then head straight into the jungle. The items that we've got are also very specifically purchased to enhance everything that we do in the jungle. One thing to note before we actually get into the jungle is that whenever you see a creep wave pushed up, you want to do your best to deal with that, as long as someone else isn't already dealing with it. The first reason why is because the creeps are quite a lot of souls compared to the jungle camps for the amount of time you're investing, and also because we don't want to lose our objectives like our guardians or our walkers. We want to make sure that we collect those. So, now that we're in the jungle, let the flash farming begin. The aim here is simple. We're going to drop our lightning ball on a jungle camp, and then we're going to walk away to the next jungle camp to do the exact same thing there. We take advantage of the items that we've purchased to maximize our efficiency here in the jungle. We have extra charge and improved cooldown, which allow us to get balls off more often. We have Mystic Vulnerability, which helps us kill these camps just a little bit faster and stops them from going back into their hiding places. And of course, we have Tesla bullets and monster rounds in the event that we actually need to use our gun for any of these camps. In the most recent patch, which was the one where they added Mirage, Lightning Ball received a buff, which increased the radius at level 3 by 1 meter. This is a significant buff, and it means that we can flash farm a whole bunch of jungle camps that we couldn't do before. I'm not going to get into the numbers behind it, but the reason why we're maxing the ball rather than just leaving it at level 1 is because it allows us to one-shot these tier 2 jungle camps. By being able to one-shot these tier 2 jungle camps, we're able to one-shot a significant amount of jungle camps that are on the map that previously we'd have to pull our gun out and keep shooting at until we actually kill them. So when it comes to playing 7, I like to break it down into 5 distinct phases. The laning phase, the jungle phase, the split pushing phase, the team fighting phase, and then the raid boss phase. The most important phase here is the jungling phase, because having a successful jungling phase allows us to build an early soul lead and guarantee that in the event we get into any trouble during those split pushes that we do, or a little bit later in the team fights, that we're going to have that nice soul lead. We're going to have a lead on items and subsequently a lead on power, and it means that we can overstep the mark a little bit. So how do you have a good jungle phase? Well, let's take a look at this game. If we take a look at the souls collected, you can see that everybody seems pretty close together up until the 12th minute. It's only then that there's one person that steps away from the rest of the pack. So in this game, we reach 7.5k souls at 9 minutes and 40, so we're about 20 seconds ahead of our benchmark, which is pretty good for us, considering we lost the lane early. But things don't go particularly well for us here early on in the jungle phase. It looks like Mo and Krill has cleared out the majority of the jungle over on this side of the map, and it means that all we've got is the basement. We pop our 3, clear out the basement, and then head over towards the slot machines, which are incredibly high value creep camps. We push out the green lane, we avoid narrowly dying from the enemy Yamato, who is quite fed at this stage of the game, and head back to base to buy some items. We then look to push out the yellow lane, yet still we haven't hit the jungle hard. And that's simply because the opportunity hasn't arisen yet. We've been defending lanes, and we haven't really been in a position to do my favorite jungle route. After pushing up the yellow lane, we then look to take out the tier 3 jungle camp. And because we checked the minimap and saw that the coast was clear, we can jump in the teleporter and take out the tier 3 jungle camp on the other side as well. We quickly push out the lane, and now we can head to that favorite jungle path I was talking about. I normally like to start this jungle path at the cathedral, but because the cathedral had already been taken, we just move on to the next stop. We take the first safe camp at the back, and then the second safe camp at the back, making sure we hit all the boxes and statues in between. And normally what I do at this stage is actually take the third camp that's at the back here. However, it's not actually up, so instead we're just going to jump across to the level 3 jungle camp. We head back to base, grab some more items, and then straight away back out to flash farm again. It's now 15 minutes into the game and we've hit our 17k benchmark. At this stage of the game, we are well and truly ahead of anybody else in the game when it comes to souls. This naturally translates to an item lead, and it means that in the event we run into anybody in those outer lanes, that if we want to try and fight them one-on-one, we should be at an advantage. However, we want to avoid that at all costs. The next big thing I want to talk about is survival. If you are dead, you cannot farm. Some of the key items in my build are specifically designed to make sure I survive. If I'm dead for 45 seconds, that means I don't get to farm for 45 seconds. So if buying that single item helped me stay alive for 45 seconds, then that naturally translates to 1.5k souls that I've got if I'm farming 2k souls a minute.
Nice magic couple.
Not to mention that I would have dropped any unsecured souls on my body, and often I can find myself with up to 2,500, even 3,000 unsecured souls. So after you've cleared out the jungle camps and played whack-a-mole for about 10 minutes in there, you come out an absolute beast. But one of the things that you're going to want to do during this time is split push. Your team very often are going to be defending or attacking in those middle 2 lanes, and your teammates will be asking, "Seven, when are you going to help us in the fights?" The truth is, you're not going to help them yet, because you're going to be split pushing. If you're farming on the right side of the map, and you see 4 or 5 enemy players over on the left-hand side of the map either defending a walker or attacking a walker, the best thing you can do is go and attack their walkers. Go and push their lanes. because a single 7, even at this stage of the game, isn't really going to change too much. We've spent the majority of our souls on farming items, on items that help us farm more efficiently. We haven't yet got to the point where we've got killing items yet. So typically I find myself bouncing on the 2 outer lanes, playing whack-a-mole with all the camps in between, and pushing the creeps up to those tier 2 walkers as soon as I possibly can. If I see enough enemies on the map, I will actually threaten the walker. If I don't see enemies on the map, what I will do is a technique I call ball tossing. We want to push our troopers up towards the enemy walker for a number of reasons. The first one is that it's going to start damaging the enemy walker. The second one is that it's going to push the equilibrium of the lane back into our favor, because naturally the walker will take out those troopers and then the enemy troopers will begin to push down the lane, which we can then farm. That's a good thing for us to do. The problem is, often you can be in a difficult position where you don't see enough enemies on the minimap, or you know that there are enemies around, and that leaves you with this question: should I push this wave or should I leave it? Well, the good news is as 7, you can throw out a ball toss and your problem is solved. By throwing out the ball toss, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the creeps in that wave. Your ball may miss one, there may be an enemy present who denies those creeps, but what it guarantees is that your troopers will make it to the enemy walker, and that's what you want. We're now at the 20-minute benchmark, where 28,000 souls is our goal. This is a really important part of your timing as 7, because this is when you come online for team fights. There is one particular item that as 7 takes you to the next level. Initially, I laughed at it and I said, this is stupid, it's never going to work. And then I saw it at the very highest level of competitive Deadlock, absolutely destroying the enemy team. That item? Magic Carpet. This item allows you to initiate, it allows you to retreat, it allows you to flank, it allows you to reposition, it allows you to catch people who are split pushing and think that they're safe. But most importantly, it allows you to survive. And as we talked about earlier, if you survive, then you're allowed to farm. If you're dead, then you can't farm. From this point onward in the game, the key here is to fight whenever your teammates fight. It is to push enemy objectives and to make sure that you play whack-a-mole with any jungle camps. You want to make sure that they are constantly down and that you're doing your best to farm them, utilizing your level 3 ball. But making sure that you never die is the key to all of this. With regard to benchmarks, your soul benchmarks are as follows. At 10 minutes, you should have 7,500 souls. At 15 minutes, you should be aiming for 17,000 souls. At 20 minutes, 28,000 souls. And at 30 minutes, 60,000 souls. It's important to note that there's a difference between the soul per minute over the entirety of the game, and then there's the soul per minute, which is more relative to, let's say, your last 5 minutes. As the game goes longer, you're going to get more items, become more powerful, and be able to kill camps a lot faster, and naturally your souls per minute will increase. As earlier mentioned, it's important to note this is just for 7. For other heroes, I don't imagine you'd be getting anywhere near this amount of souls. So the TLDR for farming 2k souls per minute on 7 is as follows. Play safe in the laning phase, don't die. Buy items that help you efficiently jungle, don't die. Plan efficient jungle pathing routes, don't die. Split push in the outer lanes, don't die. Become Aladdin with Magic Carpet, don't die. Keep pushing lanes and keep farming, don't die. Become a raid boss, try not to die. Win game, don't die. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like down below. If you disagreed with anything, please leave a comment. And if you'd like to see further Deadlock content in the future, please hit that subscribe button. My name is Drongo, this has been your Deadlock. Thank you for watching.